Am I the asshole for telling my wife her parents are not allowed to ever watch our son again? My wife and I have a 2-year-old son and have been married for 4 years. Our anniversary was a month ago and we found a nice, secluded cabin on Airbnb and rented it out for a long weekend getaway. My wife asked her parents if they would be willing to watch our son and they agreed as long as we dropped him off at their house. That worked for us since it was on our way anyway. I was raised Lutheran and my wife was raised Catholic, but neither of us currently go to church and have not had our son baptized. My Mill knows this and hates it. She thinks our son needs to be baptized or he will burn in hell. She's that kind of Catholic. So we go on our trip and when we pick up our son and ask how the weekend went, Mill says everything went fine and that she has saved my son's soul from the devil. I ask her what she meant and she says she had our son baptized that morning at her church. I tried my best to keep my cool so I didn't scream at Mill in front of my son, but I pretty much grabbed my son and left. On the car ride home I was fuming and told my wife as calmly as I could that this would be the last time her parents have our son unsupervised. She tried to downplay what her mom had done but I told her we need to wait until we get home to talk about it because I'm not fighting in front of my kid. When we got home and had a chance to talk about it, things got heated. I told my wife I no longer trust her parents with our son and that if they did something like this behind our backs I can't trust them to respect our wishes as parents in the future. I said this was a huge breach of trust and I will forever look at your mom differently. She continued to try to defend her mom saying that she was only doing what she thought was best for her grandson. She even downplayed it by saying that it's just a little water and a few words and we don't go to church anyway so what does it matter? I told her that under no circumstances will I allow her parents to watch our son by themselves again. I said that we can still let them see their grandson, but only if we are present. I also said that if she doesn't see what the big deal is with this situation, that maybe we aren't on the same page as parents and maybe we need to see a counselor. She started crying and said that this isn't the kind of decision I get to make on my own and I'm an asshole for trying to tell her what kind of relationship her parents can have with our son. I told her that I no longer have any trust or respect for her parents and that I don't know if there's anything they can do to repair that. I told her I don't care if that makes me an asshole, but what her parents did was unforgivable in my eyes and they put themselves in this position to lose privileges with our son. She's been trying to convince me to change my mind for the last month, but I'm not budging. To me this is a hill I'm willing to die on.
Not the asshole. These types of baptisms violate church law, and if it actually was done by their priest you should contact the bishop and file a complaint. Is a secret baptism against the parents' wishes the right thing to do? No. In fact, the church prohibits a secret baptism without the knowledge or approval of the parents, etc. Thanks to all for your kindness.
Not the asshole. That was a huge breach of trust. Nothing religious should be done unilaterally either by the parents or in this case grandparents. I do agree that counseling would be a good avenue for you both to get on the same page. Also apparently you're in a hole for telling her that her parents can no longer see your son unsupervised but they aren't a holes for the unauthorized baptism. What?
Go get the counseling. There is a lot in this post and it would be impossible to tell if writing off the grandparents is appropriate or not, or worth destroying your marriage over.
You are the asshole for how you went about it. You don't get to dictate terms to the person who's supposed to be your partner. You do get to tell them how you feel, tell them what you'd like to see happen, and ask them for their input, then come to a consensus, which will likely involve compromise.
Not the asshole, and yes, you both need counseling. I'm Catholic, and that was way beyond the line. You don't baptize someone's child without their permission. Have you asked the mill about this?
Not the asshole. Does your wife not realize the second your kids are old enough to understand words, their grandma is going to be scaring the fuck out of them with threats of hell? Indoctrination happens young for a reason. Scar their little minds with fire and brimstone, and sit back. It's insidious. Religion shouldn't be taught to anyone not old enough to critically think, but then, that is the point.
This is fake. Read some story that was exactly the same. Strange.
I'm kind of on your wife's side here, but I get where you're coming from. It's just some magic water and a few words in a dead language. Do I think your IL's overstepped? Absolutely. Should you let this be the thing that ruins your relationship with the woman you love? Absolutely not. Don't get so righteous with anger that you let this destroy the things you love. As cathartic as it is to think of your in-law as some cartoonish evil Catholic grandma and burning the whole thing down with your indignant flames, sitting down and having a calm conversation with no hard barriers will make you happier in the long run. Edit. I forgot to say, you and your wife aren't the asshole here. Your mill is maybe, but that's not your question, I guess.
Not the asshole. You picked a good hill up. It's not their kid, it's not their decision. If you continuously let them get away with disrespecting you and your so's wishes, things are just going to get worse and worse. Honestly, a counselor may be a good option, as it's a neutral party who can give an outside opinion.
Not the asshole at all. My significant other and I come from two different religions and have explicitly told both parents not to involve our child in anything religious. My mill tried it a few times and we basically said if you do it again you're not interacting with our child. Period. You two are the parents. If her parents can't respect that, they don't get to be with your kid unsupervised.
I told her I don't care if that makes me an asshole. Info. So why are you even here?
Info. She started crying and said that this isn't the kind of decision I get to make on my own. So, did the two of you really agree that your son shouldn't be baptized, or did she feel pressured into agreeing with you? If the former, then not the asshole, and she needs to agree to counseling, because that it's significant othernet okay. If the latter, then everyone sucks here, your in-laws most of all, and you still need counseling, because that's not a healthy dynamic. No matter whether she agreed not to baptize your child because she really agreed with you or not, it is absolutely unacceptable that her parents did what they did, and you're absolutely not the asshole for refusing them unsupervised contact, at least for now. Info. Did you make it clear, prior to this incident, to your mother-in-law that you actively did not want your child to be baptized, or is she under the impression you're apathetic about it?
I think this is a major overreaction to exactly what your wife chalked it up to be, a little water and some words. They mean nothing to you and mean nothing to your son. I would seriously reconsider burning a bridge with your child's grandparents over this.
Not the asshole. I'm Catholic and my fiancé is Lutheran, and I'd be livid if either of our parents baptized our future children without telling us until after the fact. She overstepped a pretty significant boundary. Your wife is underreacting. Yes, it technically is, just a little water and a few words, but it's the underscore meaning underscore and the underscore symbolism underscore behind it. You and your wife are a united front and decided together that this wasn't something you would do, but now that it's done, your wife doesn't care. She's right, this isn't something to decide on unilaterally. You approached this in entirely the wrong way, and you didn't listen to her. I highly recommend counseling. But counseling isn't a punishment or a threat. It just means you need help. You guys need to calm down, then have a discussion where you each get a chance to talk about your feelings, each trying to really understand the other, not argue or problem solve. Use I statements, don't accuse. Google the speaker-listener technique for one model of how to do this. I completely understand and agree with your feelings about your in-laws, but this is still not the way to handle this.
Take child to Satanic temple and get the baptism removed so his soul will be neutral again.
Not the asshole. She's deep in the fog if she's trying to downplay what her mother did. This whole scenario screams just no mill. I'm with you on that hill, dude. Insist on that counseling if she doesn't see the violation before her.
Just like yesterday's identical post. Can't you just refer to that?
Not the asshole. I cut off my own parents completely for less intrusive shit than that. Let her know the Satanic temple has undone the baptism.
I'm pretty sure I just read something like this. Either on AITA or relationship advice.
You are the asshole. What the hell do you care so much that your son got baptized? In your belief system, it has no tangible effect on him. And your wife is correct. This is not a decision you get to make on your own.
Coming from an atheist, this is wrong on so many levels. Your wife is wrong, her mom is wrong, and her dad is wrong. You are not wrong at all. They could not respect your wishes, therefore they don't get grandbaby time. This is their fault and they should know that they cannot disrespect your religion and have no consequences. You and your wife need counseling, not the asshole.
Everyone sucks here. First things first, someone said the baptism might not even count. I'd suggest checking that out, maybe you can reverse it. Seconds, your mill is incontestably ta. I'd seriously reconsider what interactions she has with your child as they grow up, especially if your wife has felt indoctrinated when she was younger. Your wife is the asshole for trying to absolve her mother and not understanding why you are angry. You are the asshole for unilaterally deciding her parents cannot see their grandchild alone anymore, ever. You clearly don't like it when someone unilaterally decides something about your child, so why are you doing it?
A woman posted a similar story to this earlier this week, thinking face, but she wasn't mad at her husband and they made the decision together.
Not the asshole, but I told her that I no longer have any trust or respect for her parents and that I don't know if there's anything they can do to repair that. She's been trying to convince me to change my mind for the last month, but I'm not budging. You guys need couples counseling. You are still arguing about this after a month, and this is not a minor disagreement. Whether her parents can be alone with your child is a huge deal practically and emotionally.
You are the asshole. I really don't get what the big deal is. It really is like your wife said some water and words. My nanny baptized me and my brother without asking my parents' permission, and my parents literally didn't care at all. She was an awesome nanny that took excellent care of us.
Not the asshole. If anyone in my family did that, it would be no contact. You should look at RJUSTNOMIL.
I fully realize that I am echoing your mill excuse, but, honestly, what does it matter? He won't remember it. You don't attend church or the church where it happened. It makes your mill satisfied and maybe she'll stop pestering about it. If it's just because she did it without permission, then sure, get upset and be sure to let her know why you are upset. The beach of trust. Don't cloud your explanation with religious stuff, that will just make her dig her heels in. But it's not worth going nuclear over, IMO.
Not the asshole. They crossed a huge boundary.
Mill sucks for obvious reasons. Wife sucks because she is siding with Mill to keep peace instead of siding with you and her actual beliefs. You suck because you're letting your anger destroy relationships. It's perfectly okay to be upset about what happened, but you shouldn't let anger dictate your decisions. Basically, you need to respond versus react . Don't say you need counseling because of what she's choosing, say you need it because you guys have some communication issues. You're basically laying all the blame on her, and that's not okay. Communication is a two-way street and you're not doing it correctly either. Edited for grammar.
Copied from here.
Not the asshole, but are you so sure your wife didn't give them the go-ahead? Not the asshole. My crazy Catholic mom and her desire to have my sons baptized put so much turmoil in my marriage. We even had to take classes and get approval to get them baptized, so I'm amazed your mill was able to even get that done without you both. It took so much begging, pleading, and mutual agreements between my husband and myself to come to an agreement, and he was still mad at my mom about it. I don't blame him, she's a nutbag.
Lol, your kid had some water poured on his head and some words said. Calm down, Poindexter.
Not the asshole. This is a big deal and your wife doesn't get to downplay it. I'd absolutely lose my mind if my mom or Mill pulled a stunt like this.
Is there a possibility your wife knew about it and that's why she's so willing to let it go? Not the asshole.
I just read this same story, or something very much like it, this morning, but there it was, the wife who was angry about the secret baptism. Super big coincidence, I'm sure.
Not the asshole. People imposing their ideas on other people's child is not okay, even if they're grandparents of the child. Old people is stuck in their ways and they'll not change. You're doing amazing op.
Didn't I just read another post pretty much exactly like that earlier this week? You're not the asshole for how you feel, but you are the asshole for trying to unilaterally dictate to your wife. Your mill is also the asshole for doing this behind your back. You're right to take a strong stance on this to keep her from escalating, but you went about it the wrong way with your wife. As a practical matter, you need to get her on your side in order to present an effective, united front. If you blow up your marriage over this, guess what? Your son is going to spend more time with his grandma.
My grandma baptized me when I was little without my parents' permission. I turned out fine. If you don't believe it, then who cares? She didn't hurt your child or abuse them. Maybe boundaries need to be set, but to ban them over this is overdramatic in my opinion. There was another Am I the Asshole similar where the parents told the kids they would go to hell and yada yada and scared the kids, but this didn't happen, so I think it's something that you all can work out and make sure they know they were out of line. Esh.
You are the asshole for recycling this story. I literally read this exact story from someone else just yesterday. Op is a FKING liar. Edit. Receipts. She started crying and said that this isn't the kind of decision I get to make on my own. Baptizing your son wasn't a decision her parents should have made on their own either. Not the asshole.
Esh. I think it is clear why your wife sucks. I hope you understand that I am trying to come from a helpful place, and not malicious. When it comes to making decisions as a couple, you have to remember that you are two adults that both individually make decision for yourself. Forbidding an adult woman from doing something that she wants to do is ineffective for two reasons. 1. She can still do whatever she wants, and 2. You are treating her like a child instead of an adult. This is annoying and will lead to her pushing back. You should have explained your problem and attempted to make a reasonable solution together. You can't force her to abide by your childcare rules. And if you divorce over this, you can expect even less control.
Not the asshole. This is the second time I've heard of a relative doing this deliberately, and I'm wondering how they can just suddenly do it when it's not their child. Don't parents have to be present? Isn't there a process involved? You don't just show up to a normal Sunday service and have it done. Or am I totally wrong?
Esh. I think your feelings are reasonable. I also think that aggressively and unilaterally laying down major rules is a bad way to approach things. Be more calm. Marriage counseling sounds like a good idea. Your wife isn't getting it. It's not the baptism itself, it is the fact they purposefully undermined you both as parents. It may just be water and words now, but what's next? Not the asshole.
Everyone except your wife is an R. First, both Lutherans and Catholics believe in infant baptism, so I am not sure about the vehemence of your response. If you do not believe in infant baptism, then again, I don't get the vehemence of your response. I fully agree that they overstepped their authority. They should never have done it without your permission. In fact, I'm surprised any church would baptize a child without its parents' consent. So, they were AHs. Maybe your wife's explaining how severe the response you're wanting in response may be enough to get them to think.
Esh, the fuck is wrong with you, Reddit? Op is clearly also an asshole here.